Welcome to this presentation of the PARCC Spring 2015 Administration Task. As the testing window for the PARCC Performance-Based Assessment approaches, here are some reminders of tasks to complete before, during, and after the testing window. At the end of this presentation, you will be able to identify the tasks required before, during, and after the PARCC Performance-Based Assessment. In addition, you will identify steps needed to prepare staff for the PARCC Performance-Based Assessment. 2 weeks prior to testing, assistant principals should finalize the schedule, including administration of makeup testing, the security plan, logistics plan, and training plan. Assistant principals, technology specialists, and teachers should sign the PARCC security agreement before the testing window begins. Schools are required to maintain signed copies and can find additional information about maintaining records of signed agreements in the state-specific policies located in Appendix C of the Test Coordinator Manual. Next, we will review activities to perform 1 week prior to testing. Assistant principals must schedule a meeting to present and discuss the security and training plan with teachers involved in the test administration of the PARCC Spring Assessment. Technology specialists will receive district-level training prior to the testing window. In addition, assistant principals should make sure teachers and technology specialists understand policies and procedures on guidance for redirecting students and clarifying directions during testing. Review the day of test activities and inform technology specialists how they can obtain additional materials needed during test administration, such as extra scratch paper. These test materials must be documented using the computer-based chain of custody form or other tracking log and must be placed in secure storage immediately. On the day of testing, assistant principals must confirm computer-based test sessions in Pearson Access Next are started. Confirm testing rooms are configured so that students are separated by a reasonable distance. Ensure testing rooms are clear of all instructional displays. And ensure that student computers meet requirements to administer computer-based tests, including providing headphones for the performance-based assessment in ELA literacy units, except for grade 8 in the spring 2015 administration only, and/or accommodation purposes. Assistant principals will have to be active during testing. They will distribute test materials each day of testing. Assistant principals must distribute test materials from secure storage to the technology specialist and document this movement on the computer-based chain of custody form or other tracking log. Please ensure that technology specialists and teachers are actively monitoring students during testing and that test security protocols are being followed. Additionally, technology specialists and teachers must provide students with their approved testing accommodations and pre-identified accessibility features. You can find this information in the student's personal needs profile on Pearson Access Next. The P&P information specifies specific testing conditions, materials, or accessibility features and accommodations needed for testing. Be sure to identify students who need to be scheduled for makeup testing because they were absent from a regular administration and schedule makeup testing to occur. Be available to answer all questions during the test administration and document any instances of testing irregularities and breaches on the form to report a testing irregularity or security breach and report them to your LEA and/or state education agency. We'll talk more about security breaches on the next slide. Collect paper test material and test tools from the technology specialist immediately after each unit in each grade or subject and document those materials on the computer-based chain of custody form. Technology specialists and teachers should report test security breaches and irregularities to the assistant principal. PARCC assessments are a secure testing event, and any testing irregularities or test security breaches must be immediately documented on the form to report a testing irregularity or security breach in Appendix E of the Test Coordinator Manual. The form to report a testing irregularity or security breach must be completed within 2 school days of the incident. Any action that compromises test security or score validity may be classified as a security breach or test irregularity. The following are examples of test security breaches. See the Test Coordinator Manual for more examples. Use of prohibited electronic devices, coaching students during testing, and copying or reproducing any part of the passages, test items, secure test materials, or online test forms. In the event that there is a building evacuation, lockdown, or school closure during testing, technology specialists and teachers should be trained on what to do. If the lockdown of the school or district building causes testing to be delayed, altered, or canceled, technology specialists and/or teachers must note the time of the disruption so that the remaining time for the unit can be calculated, secure test materials as specified in your school security plan. Upon returning to the testing room, prepare students for the continuation of the unit, inform students of the remaining time, and write the updated unit start and stop times on the board. Assistant principals should document the situation in writing, including names of students affected and action steps taken. Immediately after testing, collect test materials and verify all materials have been accounted for using the computer-based chain of custody form or other tracking log. These materials include the Test Administrator Manual, student authorization tickets, any posted or printed seal codes, student rosters containing test nav usernames and passwords, used and unused scratch paper, and paper materials that support online accommodated tests. Ensure test sessions are complete or have been marked complete by the technology specialist in Pearson Access Next. All testing devices should be logged off of TestNav. Tests should be marked complete for students that did not complete testing. They may be in active, exited, resumed, or resumed upload status. Remove any student in a ready status from a test session into a makeup test session. After all students are in a completed or marked complete status, stop the test. 1 week after the final test unit, assistant principals must complete the post-test certification form once materials have been shipped and materials securely shredded or recycled. This will also require the principal's signature. This form certifies that all materials have been tracked using the computer-based chain of custody form or other tracking log and were accounted for from receipt to packing and shipping. Work with the test coordinator to ensure the following test materials are destroyed immediately after all testing is complete and documented on the computer-based chain of custody form or other tracking log. Scratch paper written on by students during testing, printed student authorization tickets, posted or printed seal codes, any other school-generated reports or documents which contain personally identifiable student information, student rosters containing TestNav usernames and passwords, and all accommodated materials, excluding PARCC supplied materials for large print, braille, and read-aloud administration. After the end-of-year administration, recycle test administrator manuals and unused scratch paper. Once recycling is complete, it must be documented on the computer-based chain of custody form or other tracking log. The following records must be maintained by your school for as long as noted by your state's policy in Appendix C of the Test Coordinator Manual. Copies of all signed security agreements, chain of custody documentation, If not already included in the chain of custody documentation, test group or classroom roster records noting who administered each test session, both technology specialists and teachers, and names of students assigned to that group. If applicable, copies of any forms to report a testing irregularity or security breach, missing materials, and, if applicable, a copy of your signed post-test certification form. Finally, resolve critical warning alerts in Pearson Access Next. Critical warnings will appear in Pearson Access Next if key demographic information is missing from a student's profile. These must be resolved after the PARCC administration. Thank you for your participation. For more resources and guides, please visit VVSD's PARCC Resources website. The web address can be found on this screen. Thank you.